Hello and welcome, Bismuth users. This is BitSignal. In this session, I want to talk about the latest Bismuth progress report, which has been released recently. Some major changes are coming up. A lot has been going on during this last month. The main focus has been the first Bismuth governance voting, which will result in a upcoming hard fork at the end of November 2019. So the core node had to be changed. Most of the work here was to make sure the code base was stable and tested enough to be deployed with the fork code. Some new features had been added. And of course, the exchanges and service providers needed to be informed that they need to upgrade their node before block 1,450,000. So some preparing for the hard fork had been going on, hard fork testing and finalizing the release. Also, the reward reduction had been tested on the testnet according to the BGV, Bismuth Governance Voting -01. Also, protection against messageless transactions to some addresses. That means that when sending a transaction to an exchange which requires a custom message, it won't be possible anymore to send a wrong transaction to an exchange who needs a custom message. Then reduce time to live of transactions to 2 hours. Previously it was 1 day. That means after the hard fork, a transaction older than 2 hours could not be embedded in a block anymore. That means you have to resend that transaction. Then the Docker image had been upgraded to node version 4.4.0.3, which was required by an exchange called Huey. So let's see what else changed. On the Hypernode side, some tweaks were to the scripts to account for easier install and upgrade. So the manuals were added to make sure that the upgrade works well. Then let's see what the ecosystem has to offer. While the team was busy with the current code, the Bismuth community pursued their own improvements and developments. That means that, for example, the Telegram bot what had been updated, the Bismuth client module has been updated. Several rewarded improvements to the Power bot has been done. Then a custom script had been coded to send back the voting bis. That means during that vote you could vote option A or option B, and the one who voted, the one who had not the majority, they will get their bis back. Then some research, proof of concept and tests. Running a Python wallet using under Kiwi. Then proof of concept of a modern web wallet with PWA support. That's a progressive web app support. That's very interesting. Right now, there exists a balance checker using this technology, PWA. All right, then on the media front, a marketing social campaign had been created. Then a voting helper reminder and the bounty. The BGV1 voting period has ended. An update to voting helper and JSON result API. A public GitHub hooks channel on Discord, which means that all commits on GitHub will also will be seen on the Discord channel. So every commit on the GitHub channel will also be broadcasted to the Discord channel. Then blog post about the vote culmination. All right, let's talk about some Bismuth exchanges. There is one decentralized exchange which is called ViteX, and there's also some trading happening on that exchange. And the volume of that exchange is being listed at CoinMarketCap. All exchanges, of course, have been informed about the upcoming hard fork at the end of November 2019 at block number 1,450,000. And also there's a new exchange which listed Bismuth. It's called unnamed.exchange. All right, let's head over now and talk about Bismuth governance voting. There was a total of 68,952 Bismuth that was committed to that voting, to this first Bismuth governance voting. So that much had been spent. The voting period started on October 1st for 1 month until November 1st. And you had to send 2 transactions. The first transaction is your vote, and the second transaction was revealing your vote. And you had 10 days to reveal your vote. Okay, let's see what happened during this first Bismuth governance voting. Here are the results. Now you see that you had option A and option B. The option B meant that Bismuth supply needed to be reduced by a certain amount, and vote A meant that you would keep the status quo. So 9% of all the votes wanted to keep the status quo, and 89% of all the votes wanted to change or to reduce the BIS supply. We had some users who voted but did not reveal their vote, 1%, or 976 BIS did not reveal their vote. And we had 10 BIS with an error message. The error message means that the vote error message was either a wrong first message or a wrong reveal message. That means that the system could not read their vote. Vote is a message with the following format options, space, and random characters that is encrypted with the disposable key and send. Because when you send your vote is encrypted. And with the second transaction you want to reveal your vote, that message gets decrypted. So once encrypted, no way to know the content, nor even if it's valid or not. The reveal transaction sends the key. The tool decrypts the vote with the disposable key and looks for option and space. There, the decrypted message did not make sense. So those 10 BIS means that the error message appeared because the system could not read the message. All right, so what does it mean for Bismuth? That means that the supply emission change will start from block 1,450,000. The BIS proof of work block rewards, there's a BIS proof of work block rewards reduction. Currently we have about 9.7 BIS, and it will be reduced to 5.5 BIS per block. So that's a reduction of 43%. And but I have to note that the curve will then decrease on a slower rate. The BIS Hypernode's proof of stake rewards would begin to decrease instead of being constant. Right now, if you look at that graph here, you see that there's a 2.4 BIS per block. So that means 24 BIS every 10th block will be released to the Hypernode owners. And you see that's a constant, and that will also change. You see the thinner line, the red line, that will be the new Bismuth supply emission. It will dramatically be reduced here, and then you see the graph right here. And this also applies now to the Hypernodes. They will also get less until they reach 0.5 BIS per node. So the overall dilution would be reduced from 30% to 19.4% and decrease up to a tail emission. and we have then a tail emission of 2%. All right, that's all. Thanks for watching.